Okay, so we are trying to connect to the instance that we started. Sorry, somebody wants to join? Okay. Oh. Can you see that? That's your ID 781-8109-5991. 781-8109-5991. And passcode is 9 lowercase m number 6 capital F lowercase r lowercase e. F capital, okay? First, 9M 6 capital F R E. Yeah, somebody joined. Okay. So if you have joined on a laptop or a phone, then you cannot record. You can see. Just reduce the volume on your phone. All right. So let me connect to this instance now. To connect to the instance, I need the public IP. I need the PEM file. So this is the name of the PEM file. Copy the PEM file name. Go to your git bash and paste the PEM file name. And I'm assuming that this PEM file is in my downloads already. So I know that it is already there. That's why I'm writing it like this. Okay. And then I will use the public username is Ubuntu at the rate public IP is this is the public IP. You could paste this. So this is one way of connecting, guys. This is also correct. But if you are unable to remember this, you could always go to this connect button here. You click on connect, go to SSH client. This last example is there now. Whatever I have written is the same as this one also. The one which you are seeing here is the DNS name of your machine. Instead of the DNS name, I used a public IP. That's the only thing. Okay. And then I hit enter. For the first time when you are connecting, it will ask permission denied. Okay. Why it is permission denied? Okay, I did not run this. Let's see if I can run it again. Then I'll try this command again. Acha, no such file or directory. That means this PEM file UB22M is not in my current location is what it is telling me. Sorry? Is right here now, dude. Why it is saying that chmod 400 UB22 and SSH -I UB22 jar Ubuntu at the rate IP address. Same thing I did before also. Anyways, so now we will create. Okay, now who can tell me answer to a question? Who will answer a question which I'm going to ask? Huh? No based on the question. You should be ready for whatever you're ready. Good, Jagdish. So, Jagdish, I want the command to see how many users are there in this machine. How many users are there in this machine? SU space hyphen space. Now, will this command tell me how many users are there? SU means switch user. So it is like going from one user to other user only. But it will not tell me how many users are there. So ls space minus l will list only the contents that are present in the current directory. It will not list the number of users. Okay, so what I'm doing with slash etc slash password, that is the path. Now I should use some command now. Cat is a command will tell me how many users are there in my this Linux machine. Okay. What if I want to see only the last 3 to 4 lines? Tail minus 3 of etc password will tell me how many users are there. See how many users are there? Whom I can log in? Whom I can log in? How many users are there? It is not visible. It is visible not. I'm just asking how many users are there in that list whom I can log in. Only one user, right? For other two, you can see no login at the end now. It is pretty straightforward. There is no login for them and only login for this guy. Okay. Which means I do not have two users. Okay. So I guess we have created users in some other machine. Okay. So let's create synchro user. Synchro. So this is how I create a user. Synchro. Correct. Then I want to create a username as AWS. I'm not passing any password. I'm just hitting enter. If I don't want to pass any value, I'll just hit enter, right? So two users got created. Now if I do tail minus 3 slash etc slash password, now how many users I can see here? 3 users. Can I log in into all of them? I can log in into all of them. Correct. Perfect. Okay. So let me log in into two terminals. Let me connect to the same machine. SSH-I Ubuntu @ So I have connected to the same machine. How can I confirm that I'm connected to the same machine? With the IP address here 31.11.167, which says that both are the same. Now I want to log in into AWS user on this account. Okay, and I want to log in into Synchro user on this account. As I am logging from the root user, from the admin, it is not asking me any password. If I were logging in using Ubuntu, then it would have been asked me a password entry, which we do not have. We did not create a password, correct? Okay. Now, As a synchro user, let's create some files. And as an AWS user also, let's create some files. Okay. So let's do file 1, file 2, file 3. Here we are creating some empty files. Okay. Similarly, I'm creating here file 4, file 5, and file 6. So I do ls space minus l. I can see all the files listed. Similarly, I'll do ls space minus l. I see all the files listed here. Correct. Now, if I go one step back, both the places, one step back. Okay, then I do ls space minus l. I see the same output, AWS Synchro and Ubuntu. And here also, I would see the same output, AWS Synchro and Ubuntu. Correct. Now, from AWS user, if I try to go into Synchro folder, now this is a folder or a file? How are we determining? With a D in front of it, right? Correct. So let's try go to Synchro. It would throw me a permission denied. Vice versa, Synchro user trying to go to the AWS folder. If I try to go to AWS, it would give me permission denied. Now, what I want is I want Synchro user to go into AWS. Vice versa, AWS user to go into Synchro. Let's do one at a time. Okay. We want Synchro user to go into the AWS folder. Synchro user to go into AWS folder. When he tried, he is getting permission denied because for the AWS folder, which is right here, this AWS folder, if you see the permissions for others who are not owner, who are not the group members, for others, it is no permissions given. So now what we are trying to do, everybody good morning. Everybody good morning. So what we are trying to do, we want to go synchro into the AWS group. We want to add the synchro user into the AWS group. Clear about the requirement? Synchro user should be part of AWS group. Now, while I'm in the AWS here, if I type groups, what are groups you are seeing? AWS and users. And here, so Synchro is part of Synchro group, users group. Now it has to be part of AWS group also. That means when we run this groups command, we should see one more group listed here. Clear about the requirement once again, everybody, what we are trying to do. Anybody, any questions? Anybody, any questions? No? Amma? Who was that? Ask Ma, it's okay, ask it. Who was that? అంటే ఇప్పుడు AWS అనేది యూజర్. ఈ యూజర్ ఎందులో ఎందులో గ్రూప్స్ లో ఉన్నాడు, ఏ గ్రూప్స్ లో ఉన్నాడు? AWS యూజర్ AWS గ్రూప్ లో ఉన్నాడు, యూజర్స్ గ్రూప్ లో ఉన్నాడు. అట్లనే సింక్రో అనే యూజర్ సింక్రో అనే గ్రూప్ లో ఉన్నాడు, యూజర్స్ అనే గ్రూప్ లో ఉన్నాడు. మన రిక్వైర్మెంట్ ఏంటి అని అంటే సింక్రో అనే యూజర్ ఈ AWS అనే ఫోల్డర్ ని యాక్సెస్ చేయాలి అని అంటే సింక్రో అనే యూజర్ AWS అనే గ్రూప్ లో మెంబర్ ఉండాలి. సింక్రో అనే యూజర్ AWS అనే గ్రూప్ లో ఉండాలి. అప్పుడు మనం ఇక్కడ గ్రూప్స్ అని చెక్ చేసినప్పుడు సింక్రో కనిపించాలి, యూజర్స్ కనిపించాలి, AWS గ్రూప్ కూడా ఉండాలి. అర్థమైందా? క్లియరా? సో ఇప్పుడు ఒక యూజర్ ని మనం మాడిఫై చేయాలి. నౌ వీ హ్యావ్ టు మాడిఫై ది యూజర్. దట్ పర్మిషన్ ఈస్ నాట్ గివెన్ టు ఇండివిజువల్ యూజర్స్ అదర్ దాన్ ఓన్లీ ది రూట్ యూజర్స్. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open another session of Git Bash. Okay, so Ubuntu at the rate IP address. Got connected? Yes. Now here, okay, let me maximize this. I'll log in into root user. Okay. Now I have to modify. Okay. User mod minus A. Somebody might have seen minus A minus capital G. This is also correct. You can write minus A and minus capital G also. But if you combine them also, it is the same. Like this. It is same. The meaning is same. Okay. Now, coming back to our requirement. We want Synchro user to be part of AWS group. Synchro user part of AWS group. So we have to write the AWS group first. Then we will write this is the new group and we are adding to the done. Done. Now let's see. Immediately it might not get updated. Let's see. It is not getting updated. We have to reconnect. So एक बार log out, then log in again. So now I type the command groups. Now you see AWS is a part of Synchro user. AWS group is there for Synchro also. Correct? Now shall we try going into AWS folder? Now here is the AWS folder and AWS folder is given permission to AWS group. Now Synchro is also part of AWS group. Now I should be able to go into AWS. Am I able to go into AWS? Earlier I was getting denied. Now any other user, if he tries to go, they will not be able to, right? So let me create another user called DevOps. Now if I log in into DevOps user here, SU space hyphen space DevOps. Now I am in the DevOps user, correct? I go one step back and I see this AWS DevOps Synchro and Ubuntu. Earlier, Synchro was able to go into AWS folder. Now let's try if DevOps is also able to go into it. CD space AWS is not able to go. Whereas Synchro was able to go. Koncham. Understood? Everybody who did not understand? Who did not understand? Everybody understood, huh? Awesome. Awesome. So I'll call somebody here and let's do reverse of it, okay? AWS user. Here AWS user is not able to go into Synchro folder. Permission denied is coming. So who can come here and do that? Just kidding. I'm not going to ask you to come here. But I'm just making sure that if everybody has followed it or not. Emantar. Shankar. Seda. Sure. Okay. Karthik. Karthik. Rakesh, sorry. Maibu. And yes, Ardhangal. Okay, good. Good. Thank you. My friend, obviously. ఓకే సో మళ్ళీ ఇంకోసారి చేద్దాం ఇది సో ఇంకెవరికైనా చిన్న చిన్న డౌట్స్ ఉంటే అవి కూడా క్లారిఫై అయిపోతాయి ఓకే సో నౌ వాట్ వీఆర్ ట్రైంగ్ టు డూ సీ హియర్ వీఆర్ ట్రైంగ్ టు గో ఇన్ టు ది సింక్రో ఫోల్డర్ వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ హూ ఈస్ ట్రైంగ్ టు గో AWS user is trying to go into synchro folder. Now he is getting permission denied, right? He is getting what? Permission denied. Why he is getting permission denied? Let's see the permissions. If you see the permissions, see AWS user is trying to go into this synchro folder, right? If this synchro folder has already got these permissions, okay? In this permissions, we have understood that this first three set of permissions belong to the owner. Who is the owner? His name is written here. ఇక్కడ రెండు సార్లు సింక్రో సింక్రో అని రాసింది కదా, అందులో ఫస్ట్ దేమో ఓనర్ పేరు, సెకండ్ దేమో గ్రూప్ పేరు. ఎవ్రీబడి నో దిస్, రైట్? ఓకే. నౌ ఫర్ ది ఓనర్, దీస్ ఆర్ ది పర్మిషన్స్, and for the group name synchro, these are the permissions. Clear? Right? Now another set of permissions are there which belong to others, those who are not owner, those who are not part of this group. Okay, so AWS, the name of AWS is AWS, not synchro, kabatti he cannot be the owner. Correct? The group name synchro, under the synchro group, how many users are there? Or AWS user any groups lo unnadu? AWS user, is he part of synchro group or not? How can you check? Simply go to the AWS user and type the command groups. It will tell how many groups AWS is part of. You are part of, let's say, MPC group. Let's say you are part of MPC group. Now you want to be part of, you want to listen the classes of BPC, CEC, MEC also. Imagine a situation like that. Then what you will do, you will ask your principal to add you in those groups also. You are part of BPC group, you are part of MPC group, MEC, CC, whatever groups are there, all you are part of those groups. Then you can go into those classes and sit. Similarly, as of now, imagine AWS is the person who is seeking to go to other groups. AWS currently is part of AWS group, his own group, and one more additional users group. Now he wants to be part of synchro group so that he can go into this synchro folder. సో ఎప్పుడైతే మనం ఇలా AWS లో గ్రూప్స్ అని టైప్ చేస్తామో, ఇక్కడ AWS యూజర్స్ అండ్ సింక్రో కూడా కనిపించాలి, సో దట్ AWS is part of that synchro group also. Am I making clear? Clear? బట్ ఈ పర్మిషన్స్ చేంజ్ చేయాల్సింది ప్రిన్సిపల్ అన్నట్టుగా, ఇన్ అవర్ మెషిన్ రూట్ యూజర్ ఓన్లీ కెన్ చేంజ్ ఇట్. కరెక్ట్? Now root user is somewhere here. He is the root user standing here. Now this user needs to make the changes. So the command is usermod -a -g, or add both of them, it is the same. Okay. Now here comes the tricky part, I believe. Maybe here people are getting confused. What we are supposed to do? Go back to your requirement, check once again. AWS is the user who wants to be part of another group, synchro group. So that syntax says that first you have to add the group name, and then you have to add the user who wants to be part of that group. Okay? So taking that as the syntax, I am writing like this. First, the group name. Group is synchro, and the user is AWS. Clear? Okay. It is done. Okay. Now, if I have to update this, I will have to log out once. Okay. For that, I'm doing exit. Sorry, xt exit. Then I'll do su space AWS again. Now, if I try to go one step back and try to go, oh, sorry, first let's check groups. Synchro కనిపిస్తుంది ఎక్కడ? Now, earlier, when we are in the AWS user, when we tried the groups command, it was showing you only AWS and users. But now you are able to see the synchro group also. That means I belong to this synchro group. I belong to this synchro group. So now this guy AWS can go into this synchro group because the group members of synchro have the read and execute permissions. I'm able to go into it. Earlier I was getting permission denied. Now I'm able to go into it. Clear? Somewhat little at traces. Okay. Any questions, anybody? Amma. యూజర్స్ గ్రూప్ లో ఏముంటుంది అంటున్నారా? యూజర్ గ్రూప్ లో ఎవరెవరు యూజర్స్ ఉంటున్నారు అంటున్నాం. యూజర్స్ అనే గ్రూప్ లోపల యూజర్స్ ఉంటారు. ఇప్పుడు మన సింక్రో యూజర్, ఏడబ్ల్యూఎస్ యూజర్, డెవాప్స్ యూజర్, ఉబంటు యూజర్, వీళ్ళు ఉంటారు అందులో. పర్మిషన్స్ మళ్ళీ వేరే ఉంటాయి. గ్రూప్ కి సపరేట్ పర్మిషన్స్ ఉంటాయి. ఇప్పుడు యూజర్ అనే దాంట్లోకి మనం ఇది గ్రూప్ పేరు కానీ దేర్ ఇస్ నో యూజర్ బై నేమ్ యూజర్స్. యూజర్స్ అనేది గ్రూప్ పేరు కదమ్మా. ఇక్కడ ఆ పేరుతో ఏదైనా యూజర్ ఉన్నాడా? ఉన్నాడా? చూద్దాం. ఎక్కడ చూస్తాం మనం? క్యాట్ స్పేస్ స్లాష్ ఈటీసీ స్లాష్ పాస్వర్డ్. ఇందులో యూజర్స్ అనే యూజర్ ఉన్నాడా చూడండి. ఇక్కడ కనిపిస్తుందా? కనిపించట్లేదు. Yeah, because these are the names right here. Starting, the starting words are the users. Sorry. యూజర్స్ అనేది గ్రూప్ కదమ్మా. గ్రూప్ అనేది గ్రూపేగా, ఫోల్డర్ కాదు కాబట్టి. ఆ పేరుతో ఫోల్డర్ ఉంది కాబట్టి దాంట్లో లోపలికి వెళ్ళలేము. గ్రూప్ లోకి ఎంటర్ కావాలంటే గ్రూప్ లోకి మనం యాడ్ అవ్వాలి మెంబర్స్ లాగా. ఇప్పుడు మనం చేసినాం కదా యూజర్ మోడ్, అదే కమాండ్. యూజర్ మోడ్ -ag and you are adding a user into the group name users. Okay, fine. Now where can we see the list of groups? Where we can see the list of groups that are created? Same location. These are all the groups. DevOps is a group that got created when we created the user DevOps. Similarly, AWS is a group that got created when we created a user AWS. Likewise, Synchro, likewise, Ubuntu, and so on. Okay. Clear about yesterday's task? User mod command. Yes. అమ్మా చెప్పమా. ఈ రూట్ యూజర్ చేయగలుగుతాడు. క్రియేట్ చేసుకున్నా కూడా రూట్ యూజర్ చేయగలుగుతాడు. చేయగలుగుతాడు. అడ్మిన్ కదా. Okay, so guys, let me have your attention here. See, in the etc directory, we have so many files here, right? Let's say I am searching for a particular file, whether it is there or not. So in this way of searching, like scrolling up and down, I might miss a file or a folder in between. Chances are there. Now, in Windows operating system also, if you open a list of files, there are so many files. Now you wanted to check whether a particular file by name, let's say legal. If the file name legal is there in your list or not, what you will do? Everybody will do the same. You will do Control F and then type the word and you will find it. Yes or no? Something we should have in Linux also, right? Unfortunately, we do not have Control F though, but there is a beautiful command similar to that called grep. Grep is like the filtering command. Okay. So now this grep command can be used as an add-on on an existing command, such as now ls minus l is listing me entire output of this folder. Now I don't want to see the entire output. I want to see only the legal file if it is present or not. Then what I can do, if I run just this, if I just run ls minus l, it will run everything. I want to filter it. So in order to filter it, I will use this symbol called pipeline. This symbol is called pipeline symbol. It will add two commands. ls minus l is one command. Grep is another command that we are going to write now. So what I'll do, I'll write grep. Okay. I'll write grep and then I will write the word I am looking for. I am looking for legal. I'll just write legal like this. And then I hit enter. Instead of giving me the entire output, it will just give me whether the file is there or not. If the file was not there, you